Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. Want to improve your organization's customer service? Looking for insider tips to knock your customer socks off? Then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Yannick Grant.
Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. On today's episode, we have with us Kay Valenzuela. Kay is an international award winner, founder of CXchange Institute, business entrepreneur, and a recognized strategist of customer experience design. Kay has been revolutionizing the Spanish-speaking market with her own program that focuses on customer experience, mastering the strategic competitive advantage of customer experience. And she's implemented this certification in a number of Spanish-speaking countries and is looking up for great opportunities to launch into the English-speaking market as well. So today we're very pleased to introduce Kay Valenzuela, and we're just going to give her an opportunity to introduce herself and share a little bit about herself and her journey and how she's gotten to the place where she is today. So welcome, Kay.
Well, thank you, Janique. Amazing to be with you on this program. Thank you for inviting me.
So could you just share with our audience a little bit about yourself and how it is that you found yourself in the place where you are today?
Oh, sure. My pleasure. I think of myself as a very curious person. And out of curiosity, after having been working with Service Quality Institute for some time, during the interactions with the participants I had before, I would always take notes on where did they want to go, what did they expect to, what were the solutions that they were expecting to find. And I started keeping track of all those questions and all the things that they had on their minds, the challenges they were facing, and I just wanted to find a solution for them and for myself, because sometimes solutions in customer experience are not that simple. So at the end of a 4-year period, I summed it all up and started partnering with people around the world, experts in the field, that started helping me out to put all these answers together. And we ended up having a Research and Development Institute, and now we have the certification program open worldwide.
Very
so
nice.
It's amazing, yes.
Awesome. So as a customer experience expert, how do you feel about customer service or customer experience on a global level?
Well, I think we're facing a very interesting challenge, and the message that we're taking across is the following. People have been trying to change people for a very long time, and that hasn't taken us very far. So what if we just started looking more inward into the organization instead of the people? So that's like a different approach to the whole customer experience issue, because we keep on having these failures and we keep on having all these budgets just basically thrown or blown out in the air, not knowing exactly what we're supposed to expect from it. So now we have the opportunity to set in place a strategy that can be measured, that can be controlled, and can be managed. And then after we fix the story that we have inside, then maybe we can go ahead and go to people.
All right. So as a customer experience specialist, a solution-oriented individual, what are some everyday solutions that you would recommend to a small business owner to help them improve their customer experience? Maybe 3 or 4 basic things that you think would help to just change the dynamics of how they're operating.
Well, the first thing that we need to figure out is where we are and where do we want to go. And then after we have that clear answer, then maybe we can set up in place a strategy that we can follow, a strategy that we can put into a plan and make sure that we take into account everything that is really important for accomplishing the strategy. And that the first thing would be knowing what is the kind of service that you want to deliver. How do you want to make your customers feel? That would be the first question that you would like to answer very clearly enough that it can be also answered and understood and by all the people in your organization. The number 2 would be listen to your customer and listen to your employees. Listening is a basic must to figure out what is the strategy that you have to put in place. It doesn't work anymore when you go from the organizational perspective. You have to listen to your customers and make sure that you are following the right path, complying with 3 major aspects that customers have today. And that is, what is the level of effort they need to put in place in order to get what they want? Number two is, how do they feel while they're doing that effort, and what is their success rate achieving what they want to achieve in your organization? And number three, I think it would be, absolutely, you have to define the journey. You have to be in touch of what happens with you or with your organization and your customers at every touch point. Make sure that you track their emotions. Make sure that you really understand what is it they're trying to achieve at each point of contact. And then you have to train your people to make sure that you deliver the experience that you designed for them.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that sounds a lot for a small business owner to all take into play. Let's say the business owner doesn't believe in training. They believe that every time I train these people, they end up leaving my company and I have to retrain again. How do you get them into that mindset of understanding that the training is not an expense, but it's more of an investment? And at the end of the day, it's directly linked to their bottom line.
Right. From my point of view, Janique, what's happened before is that they are absolutely right. They have been training people, but on the wrong issues before. So they don't see the outcome of that investment. And that's why everybody thinks it's probably an expense. But when you figure out that it is a perspective issue, everyone knows and does what they need to do in regards to what they know, not only what they're trained on. So basically, every time you hire somebody, that person comes with a story, with an experience, and they will put that into place at your organization. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a large organization or a small one, you will absolutely face the same challenges if you don't get that communication aligned. So basically, what training does is align the vision and align the strategy that you want to put in place. If you want to have a bakery and you're going to have to hire chefs, if you don't tell those chefs what's the recipe that you want to deliver, it's impossible for them to figure out on their own. So I would say not necessarily training would be the first step, but it definitely has to be in place within the strategy to deliver great service. It just simply will not happen out of the blue.
True.
It's impossible to have different kind of people with different kind of experiences, ages, and belonging to different generations just to think alike and to deliver a consistent message if they're not trained on it.
Very true. What are some important considerations for an entrepreneur or online business owner you believe to be successful? So the online medium is a little bit, the space there is a little bit different than the brick and mortar space. Same kind of customers that you're dealing with, but the strategy I'm sure has to be a little bit different, right? How would you advise an online business owner to be successful? What are some important considerations they need to take into account?
Well, at some point today, the world is digital. Mm-hmm. And we can all say that the digital part of the strategy has to be in place, whether you do have a physical space or not. You have to take into consideration what is the journey that your customer is going to follow. And the trends are that they will go to your online, they will go to your web page, they will go to your social media channels, and will probably get to know you so much better than you will ever get to know them by the time they reach you for the first time. In fact, the statistics say that 88% of the purchase decision has been made online before the customer reaches anyone for the first time. So it's basically about understanding who is the person that you're selling to, who is your customer. You have to have a profound understanding of the purpose of your business in their lives and what is it that they're trying to achieve when they get in contact with you, be that on a physical space or on a digital space. And you have to make sure that you actually are managing the whole customer journey within the customer sales cycle, and make sure that you are very fast at telling them what is it exactly that is so unique about you that they want to stay on your page, and they really understand really fast what is it they're going to achieve by doing business with you. As to Microsoft, they just have some numbers there that are very amazing. You say you have from 6 to 8 seconds to catch the attention of anyone online. So basically, with so much noise out there and so much competition worldwide, and you really have to come with a clear message across right off the bat when they go into your webpage.
Very true. Very true, because as you said before, there is a lot of noise that's going on out there. So what makes you that important that it's going to grab their attention to even go further? All right.
Well, more than important or not, if I may add, I would say is, what is it different about you? Why are you unique? Why do you deserve their time and most likely, hopefully, their money along the way?
Mm-hmm. And a big part of that is creating value, right? Because I think people are more concerned nowadays. They'll spend money if the value is great.
Yes, and value also comes from perspective. That's why it is so important to be able to draw your customer persona and make sure that you are really understanding, a profound understanding. I like to stress that when I say it, because if you don't know who you're selling to, it's very difficult that you're going to create that value right off bat within 6 or 8 seconds. So you really have to know who is your target audience. What is it that makes them feel comfortable with you? I have a new proposition to my customers is that there's only 2 ways to stay in business today. Is either you look like your customers or you only do business with the people that look like you. So you really have to define the personality of your business, and you really have to define who is your target audience. Not everybody that buys from you is a real customer. And that's probably a little bit of a confusion spot that I found with my customers along the way.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, in terms of sustaining a service culture, right? So we spoke a lot about the strategy. The culture in the business is really the behavior of the people in the business, how they treat each other, and of course, the environment that they've created for each other. And we've all heard about companies that have great cultures like Google, Amazon, Zappos, Apple. How do you get that culture to be part of their DNA, that it spills over into their customer experiences?
From my point of view, I say that it has to do a lot with the owner of the business. It is that primary leader that already has a vision and a way to inspire in such a dramatic way that it doesn't matter whether you're, a beginner or if the organization has a long time by the time you join them or not. It would be sustainable if the leaders that manage it have a sustained vision and a sustained attitude towards their business. Basically, they're role models. And I don't know how much the leadership line is really in touch with that understanding. They are not only being listened to, but they're also being watched every second of the day. So sometimes it's very difficult to have a sustained experience, great experience culture if you have a leader that would say one thing when he's in front of their customers and probably something else when the customer has moved away. Mm-hmm. So the culture begins with leadership, and they have to have a sustained message that come across really clear to what is that they want to be for their customers, and it will follow along.
Awesome.
I don't think culture is, I really have a lot of noise thinking that culture is something that you can create. I think culture is what you already have depending on your behavior, like you said before. So if you have an unsustained message, you will have an unsustainable culture. Mm-hmm. If you have a clear message, you will have a sustained culture, most likely, whatever it is, whether it be that of quality or not that much of a quality. Mm-hmm. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're saying in a consistent way is what becomes your culture.
Awesome. Very powerful stuff. So leadership, you touched on leadership, and I think that's so, so powerful, Kay. What are some critical qualities that a leader needs to have in order to run a business that is customer service driven? I mean, customer service is front and center of mind of his executive team and his team members. Like, what are some qualities he or she would need to ultimately possess?
I would say that for me, the whole experience message is like a story. So they need to have a clear story. There's a story that invites people to be either part or to move away from whatever you mean as an organization. So when leaders have a clear story and that story is compelling enough, it would definitely help them out, not only to sustain a culture, but also to have a sustained message to their customers. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely have to say they have to have a clear story. It's like their identity. It's like their identity seal. And they have to find a way to create along the touch points. What is it? How are they going to tell that story on and on and on again with the same level of engagement? People say usually that we need more engaged frontline employees, and it has been my experience that what we need are more inspiring leaders.
That's so true. You know, it's funny you say that, because I think like in a country, the leaders of a country are the ones that inspire the citizens. And I suppose that's why the countries who their GDP is better and their ease of doing business is better, is because the leaders in the country understand the ease. You know, they put themselves in the customer's shoes, which are the citizens, and they really understand the importance of transcending that message in a way that is tangible, and you feel that, you know, it's easy to do business.
What I think it comes down, because you think of other leaders, for example, that are not necessarily organizational driven, and you say, what is it that makes them different? How come you have such a few individuals along history that have had the power, like to transform, the ages and the way society runs? And it's because they have something to say, and they feel it's important to them. And I think it just I would say it just rubs on. I feel very passionate when I think about this, because you think about what is it they do different. Why do you have organizations that are so successful? Why do you have departments within a failing organization that is successful? So it always comes back to the message that the leader is taking across. How much passion, how much does he believe in his own dream onto what does it mean to be part of that organization? What does it mean to achieve a certain goal because it makes us better, because it inspires us? And then people follow along. And it's I don't think it's business driven. I think it's leadership driven. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the way they communicate. Why is this important? And because I am passionate and I am very enthusiastic about this thing that I think is important, then everybody else buys the idea from you, whether you're selling it or not. True. Because it's inspiring, because it gives them sense. It gives them, most importantly, it gives them like a sense of direction. My day has a purpose, and it has a very clear line to follow down a path. Mm-hmm. And then when everybody jumps into that wagon, then it's very easy to see the success happening, even if they're not trying to be successful. Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure how many of the worldwide known leaders started by wanting to make a difference. I think they just wanted to start telling others how do they feel, how do they think, what do they dream about. And the other people just bought that idea because it felt exactly how they felt.
True. Wow. Very profound. All right. Okay. So tell me, how do you stay motivated every day?
Well, I think I am trying to follow a very clear line. It's been my personal story, Janique. When I started working with customer service, to me, I must be honest enough to say that I also had an entrepreneurial vision towards training, towards what customer service meant. And the minute I started getting in touch with people and feeling their concerns and all the things that they had to face, and at the same time, the big gap they had trying to find some sort of balance into who they were when they were not working and who they were when they were working, and it created a whole lot of noise. And to me, when I was able to understand customer experience in a different way, in a way that it touched me as a person, and understanding how making a great impact in somebody's life. It also meant that I was writing like a chapter of my own story. Then it made a whole lot of difference. And then it gives me so much enthusiasm because I see customer experience now as my own developing story every day. So I want a great story to be told about my day. I want to be part of amazing stories. I want to be part of probably a story that will transcend my own living time and space. And that can only be done through the interactions that we have with people. It's the stories that we create together what makes us relevant. And I think that sense of relevance is something that everybody wants. And I found it through customer experience and the interactions with people. And I just don't want to lose it.
Nice. All right. What's the one online resource, tool, website, or app that you absolutely cannot live without in your business?
Well, it's a very tricky question today. I would have said yesterday, WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Oh, okay.
Yes, now that we're going to have a duo and a hello, I don't know exactly what would that be like within a couple of weeks. But as of now, definitely WhatsApp would be my primary line of connection to the rest of the world, especially when I'm traveling.
Awesome. Okay. So for those of our listeners out there listening, WhatsApp is an instant messaging app that you can connect with others through your telephone number, and you can send them instant messages, you can send them files, you can send them voice notes, you can send them pictures, and it's really a great resource as a business owner. So I just wanted to clarify that so everyone knows what Kay's talking about. All right, Kay, can you tell us some books that you've read that have really had the biggest impact on you in your journey for being, such a great customer experience person?
I would. The first one that comes to the top of my mind is "What Got You Here Won't Take You There" by Marshall Goldsmith. I think Marshall is a great business coach, and the way so simple that he makes you walk through a ladder of life, thinking, "How did you get to this place? And do you think you have enough to keep on down the journey?" And it actually makes you reflect a lot on what are the possibilities in front of you and that you're able to make those choices for the better. Mm-hmm. I would most likely have to say that one, the one that comes to the top of my mind. It made a profound impact on me. Yes.
Okay, very nice. Is there any others, or that's the only one you want to list for us today?
There's a book in Spanish from a Spanish writer and beautiful speaker. His name is Mario Puig, and it's called Transformation. And what it talks about is your ability to transform at any moment in time of your life. It's trying to achieve happiness, whatever that means to you, and how you can reinvent yourself every day to become better, to be better for others, to leave a legacy on society, and of course creating a great story for yourself, one that will be worth not only living but also talking about it. So Transformation from Mario Puig would be a second one.
Very nice. All right. Now, we have a lot of listeners who are business owners and managers who feel they have great products and services, but they lack the constantly motivated human capital. If you were sitting across the table from that person right now, what's the one piece of advice that you would give them to have a successful business, specifically as it relates to, having that constantly motivated human capital?
I would ask them, what does it motivate them? Because if their employees are not motivated, there's got to be something wrong with the message that they're listening to. So I would probably try to figure out what motivates that leader. Mm-hmm. Does he feel that he has the same kind of connection with his business as to where he started? I would ask him about how he has met his expectations. I would ask about him. I would ask him, how do you feel? Because if they're enthusiastic and they're really connected, it just simply shows and it rubs on.
That is true.
I would ask about them. How motivated are them to do the work they do every day?
So again, leadership is a very, very critical component to the success of any business.
Yes, it is. I think what we have is a little, I would not say little, I would say a lot of management and a very, very few traits of true leadership within the organizations. And as much as painful that is for me to say, because I heard them, when we interact, they come to the same conclusion. That is true, that they have been so managing driven that they forgot to lead. The great thing is that they can always go back and start all over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Every day you get another opportunity to be better than the day you were before, right?
Yes, and when it comes down to leadership, I mean, embracing the possibility of being vulnerable and being transparent, it takes so much weight from the leaders back, because sometimes they feel because they're in a leadership position, they need to have all the answers, they need to have all the strategies, and they believe they need to know everything that has to be put in place, and that is actually not true. When you think of the characteristics of combining your leadership position also with the great, I would say, with the capability that your team has to flow in with you and increase your ideas, make them richer, make them profound, you will always get so much more than when you put all that weight on your backs, thinking that you have to have every answer. When you think about your teams, they'll be more than happy to sharing those ideas they have with you, because if you really think about it, they are the ones that know more about your business, if you will, than you can, because they are the ones facing the troubles every day and the challenges every day. Sometimes we are just too way back or upstairs in the building, and we forget to have that interaction with the customers. So basically sharing those ideas and being on a collaborative style of leadership would always give you such a wider perspective on what are the right steps to take, and how do you manage better, how do you lead better, and how do you interact with your customers better.
Mm-hmm. All right. What's one thing that's going on in your life right now that you are extremely excited about? Something that you're either working on to develop yourself or your people?
Oh, I would have to say definitely CX Mastermind. That's the certification you were mentioning before. It's taking us about 4 years to put all the programs together. It's 5 different programs, one international certification, and we're really, really, really enthusiastic. Already down to 6 different countries. As a matter of fact, right now I'm in Guadalajara, Mexico, in a great alliance with the University of Monterrey, Tecnológico de Monterrey, and we're going to take the program nationwide, hopefully. So I'm very enthusiastic about the impact that the program has, made on the participants, and probably the fact that it's based on science, more than philosophical or business orientation. It's taking the conversation to a whole different level. The first day we spent talking about how much do you know yourself, and people think that we're talking about at the beginning. They think we're talking about how much do you know about what do you like or what you don't like, and what we're referring to is, do you know how are you biologically built? There's so many answers within our brain. Finally, the answer to the question on why do people do what they do, we found that answer, and we have been able to put it in a very simple communication line that people can actually relate to, understand, and you can see in their faces when they see those blind flashes of the obvious just lighting up in their faces. Go, oh, so that's why this didn't work. Oh, that's why my employees didn't listen to me. Oh, that's why I couldn't find a solution. And it all comes down to, we have been trying to change something that is dynamically changing on itself. And we've stayed with a fixed pattern of doing business. That is the one that needs to be relocated or redesigned. It's not the people. You can't change people. It doesn't matter how many hours of training you put people through. You just don't have the power to change people. The only thing you can do with people is either inspire them or you can model for them, and they will decide what they want to do. So when you start talking like that, they finally start getting all those answers that for many, many years, because they were asking me in certifications, and I'm sure you've had that experience yourself. They ask you, so how do I do it? Who gets to do it? And what do I do it with? So the questions were actually not accurate, even though they are important. The accurate questions were like, why do you want to do this? And what for? And then meaning comes along. Because we're trying to build cultures, and we're asking other people, other managers, people that probably just joined the organization, and we're asking them, design our culture, bring me results. And that simply cannot happen out of the blue. So when you understand why people are either resistant or endorsing a new line of communication, a new way of wanting to be, a new way of creating these special moments at every point of contact, it makes so much difference, Yannick, when they understand from a biological standpoint that, all the answers are there, and it's basically, it's like a picture. We make a metaphor through the certification that we say, like, we have a film and we keep on feeling that film every day. And it's like you were watching your favorite, either the movie you hate or the movie you love, and you were watching it every day. By the end of the day, you will be acting, speaking, and feeling just like what you see in the picture. So when you put that all into like on a system, and it follows through, and you are linking all these messages where you finally understand why people do what they do, why do you do what you do, why your managers do what they do, then creating a solution is so much very simple. It's like I would like to say it this way: we've achieved the impossible, Janique. We have made a non-verbal language logical. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. It does to me, at least.
Okay. So what we have done is, because when we talk about the customer experience, we're talking about the way they feel, not the way they act. Because what they act after they feel.
True.
So what we've done is that we've shown the whole emotional scenario from a biological and scientific standpoint, and we've made it understandable. We've made it simple to design paths and into questions into courses of action. That's what we have done. We have created 14 different canvas that people just, you have the canvas in front of you, and you just fill in the questions. They're very simple questions, and everybody knows their answers. The only thing is that they never had it all together in one sheet of paper in front of them. Mm-hmm. So we've been able to do that. And I think that's why we're being so successful. We are actually giving answers that go way much more farther than anything that I've ever seen before in customer service, because they talk about, speed, they talk about agility, they talk about empowerment, they talk about a way that a leader should treat their team members, but that's like more on a philosophical span, if you will. And we have taken all that information that is needed from the back office, from the processes and the politics of the organization, and we pair that with however your employees feel and however your customers feel. So we've been able to create a sustained strategy that can be walked through like if you were 3 years old, Janique. It's very simple to do, amazing results, and I'm just so in love with it. I could just go on forever.
Yes, I can definitely hear your passion, your excitement, your enthusiasm in it, and it definitely has electrocuted and magnified the lives of other people, and that's why you're being so successful. So that's awesome. So
what I was saying is that for so many years, Yannick, I was out there speaking about customer service and giving these ideas. And it's so much different when you see in their faces that they're not just living with ideas, they're living with a strategy, they're living with a tactical way of doing. Now they do know what to do the next day they go to their office. So seeing those faces light up, like when you're looking for something so desperately and finally you find that answer, it just gives me all I ever wanted to feel in life, I must admit.
I can just imagine. Now, if our listeners wanted to feel all the things that you've just described so eloquently, where can they find you online to jump onto this program and get you coming over to their country and their company?
Well, they can go to my website. It's kayvalenzuela.com, and they will, under that name, they will find me basically in every social channel on the web, available on the web. And hopefully I will be going to Jamaica as well. I'm really looking forward to that opportunity. The next presentations we're going to Honduras, we're going to El Salvador, and we're going to Nicaragua right after we finish here in Monterrey. And hopefully next year we'll be in Jamaica around February. And yes, most certainly, yes, they can get in touch with me, and we are ready to take the program worldwide.
Awesome. All right. And just for those listeners listening, Valenzuela is spelled Valenzuela. That's Valenzuela. Okay, Kay, before we wrap up the interview, we always like to ask our guests, what is one quote or saying that they like to revert to every time that they may face adversity or challenge in their life? Either could be on a personal level or a professional level. Just a quote or a saying that kind of reinvigorates you. Do you have one of those?
I have a few. One of my favorite phrases is that the only thing that your competition cannot imitate is how your customers feel when they do business with you. That would be one. And the second one, and more inspirational, would be it's never too late to have a new dream and work to follow it through.
Very nice. All right. So I really, really enjoyed this interview. I mean, Kay has definitely given me some exciting stuff to look forward to. I'm going to encourage all of our listeners that listen to this episode today to connect with Kay on all of her different social platforms and follow her. I hope that, you know, this new program that she's created and all of the diversified options that it has can really reignite organizations on a global level, that hopefully from a citizen point of view, we can definitely start to look at customer experience differently and have better experiences, because at the end of the day, that's what we all want. We want to go through life having a great experience, having a wonderful day where people treat us fairly and we get value for the experiences that we have. So Kay, I just want to thank you again for taking the time to sit with us today.
Absolutely, Janique. It's been my pleasure. I swear I could go on talking about this with you forever. You're doing such an amazing job giving, people like me the opportunity to get in touch with different audiences. And I think the job you're doing is amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
You're most welcome. So for those of you listening, you can follow us on Twitter at NavigatingCX. And if you would like to take the conversation even further, please come on Facebook and join our private Facebook group at Navigating the Customer Experience Community. We'd love to have you over there. So again, thank you so much for joining us on this episode, and we'll see you next time. I'm your host, Yannick Grant. We really appreciate your support of this podcast. Are you ready to grow your business even more? Or improve your leadership skills? Or train your team members in the art of customer service? Give us a call at 305-848-0815 or visit our website at www.yannickgrant.com. That's YANIQUEGRANT.com. Remember, 305-848-0815 or visit our website at yannickgrant.com. Our new online course, Mastering Customer Experience and Increasing Your Revenue, is now available. The link for this will be on the show notes of each episode starting September 7, 2016. The first 2 modules are free, so hop on over, have a look, and take the steps to increase your revenue.
Thanks for listening. For more awesome resources to take your customer service game to another level, head over to navigatingthecustomerexperience.com. See you next time.